I tend to be a very private person. In 2017, I started a company that runs peer groups, and I'm very comfortable being behind the scenes with people in small, intimate groups, having conversations with them around what's challenging in their businesses and having them come together, support one another. However, I'm saying that me being private and behind the scene needs to change because ever since I've done this job, I think that our society is missing on a massive opportunity to better leverage having peers come together. What I mean is that I see magic happen every single time that one of these groups run. And I've ran countless numbers of them. And not only me, but my facilitators, every single one that I know who has been part of a peer group has usually gotten a really profound experience when that peer group was well run. And I think our society is at a level where we definitely need this to complement everything else that is out there. I'll share some of the things that I usually see in our world. I see teamwork. So teamwork is a whole bunch of people that are working together for one unified goals. Or I see leadership. Leadership is one person being a lone wolf and needing to become better themselves at managing, at communicating, at doing all of these things. But very much this is a solo endeavor that they're on, and it's a very lonely one. And what I would say is that working with peers, so this concept that I call peership, complements all of this. It's actually unifying leadership and having teamwork together. But just think about this differently. Instead of having teamwork where everyone's united in their same goals, peership is actually this concept where peers each have their own goals, right? So each working on their own verticals. The goals are not overlapping. They're not competitors. However, just think about how beautiful it is to have a team, a tribe in which you can rely on and who actually has your back when you are going through something hard. What happens in these peer groups is that people have very vulnerable, very raw conversation, authentic, human, genuinely refreshing conversation about what's hard. Everyone leans in to understand and support the person who's struggling, and every single person has the opportunity to get helped. The beauty in this is that all of a sudden, it means that you wouldn't need to go through things alone. And just imagine how big of a relief that would be. Just imagine if you were to graduate university and you didn't need to be alone going through all these interview processes and figuring out how to show up at your job the very first time, and that you actually had a group of peers with who you could have these conversations. Just imagine if being recently promoted into a new role, you actually had other peers like you who were going through these changes and also figuring it out. Just imagine if you were getting promoted in a new leadership role that was massive responsibility for which you likely had imposter syndrome of having been the one selected for this, and having people who actually understood all the emotional turmoil that you're going through and validating that them too are going through something like this, and having a group of people with whom to have really open discussions about how to tackle this together. Just imagine if being a new parent, you had a support group where people would understand what you were living through and how balancing your life, your career, important financial decisions all fit in, right? All these very, very core areas of our lives that need support, we very often are going through all of these alone. And in a world of social media where most relationships are a notion of shallow relationships, there's something so healthy, so human, so authentic, and so needed that happens in these groups that I'm just thinking that we are missing out on a massive, massive opportunity if that doesn't spread further and bigger, because it should. What I would say is that in the months that come, I want to absolutely share everything that I've learned about peer groups, their dynamics, what work, what doesn't, why it's good, why it's not going to work in some occasions. I think that there is so much good that can happen out of this. And I hope that you also see the benefit from it. Because I think that being human at its core is for us to connect in really powerful, meaningful ways that are authentic, that feel healing, that feel good, and for us to have the bandwidth to have empathy for ourselves, but also for the others that are in a room with us. And just imagine how much of a better and more healing society that builds. I'm looking forward to sharing more with you.